The morning sun barely seeped through my kitchen window, casting a dull glow on the worn-out chair across from me. It was like it had absorbed years of sweat, tears, and coffee stains, the last remnants of my failed marriage to Lisa. I rubbed the back of my neck, trying to ease the tension that seemed to fester there every day. As I prepared breakfast, my mind wandered to my latest predicament, Jessica. Not just any professor, but one who'd managed to infiltrate our office building with her charm and wit, teaching literature to finance professionals like me. We started an affair, or so I thought, about 6 months ago. But now the smell of burnt coffee during a fight, the creak of that worn-out chair, it all felt like a distant memory. My cell phone buzzed loudly on the counter, cutting through my thoughts. Lisa's name flashed across the screen. We hadn't spoken in over 2 years since our messy divorce, but somehow she knew today was my birthday. "Happy birthday, Chef," her smooth voice said, tinged with a hint of irony. "Thanks, Lisa," I forced a chuckle, trying to keep up appearances. "What do you want?" "I just heard about your little affair. You never could keep it in your pants." My eyes widened at the mention of Jessica. How did she know? Had Jessica lied to me about her situation too? "I don't know what you're talking about," I stammered, the familiar knot tightening in my stomach. "Oh, come on, Robert, don't be naive. That professor has been using you for her own gain. She's got a hidden agenda." I hung up, trying to make sense of Lisa's words, but part of me wondered if she was right. Had Jessica lured me into an affair with ulterior motives? The smell of burnt coffee seemed more sinister now. I took a deep breath and tried to shake off the doubt. After all, I was Robert, a successful chef in the financial district with a reputation built on honesty and authenticity. But as I stared at the burnt pot on the stove, I couldn't ignore the sinking feeling that I'd been blind to the truth, just like I had with Lisa. Unwilling to face Jessica after this revelation, I dashed off to work. The city streets were alive with activity, but my mind was a whirlwind of confusion and suspicion. Little did I know, this was only the beginning of an intricate web of deceit that would test my trust, threaten my livelihood, and challenge everything I thought I knew about love. The clatter of dishes echoed through the kitchen as I hastily prepared a makeshift breakfast for one. My mind churned with unanswered questions, each more disturbing than the last. How did Lisa know about Jessica? What was her motive in revealing this supposed secret? And most unnerving of all, could it be true? Had my newfound affair been nothing but a ploy orchestrated by a cunning woman with ulterior motives? As I poured myself a steaming cup of coffee, the bitter taste hit my tongue, mirroring the bitterness that had settled in my heart. It was as if this morning, my birthday, marked not only the beginning of a new year, but also the unraveling of my carefully constructed world. I made it to the office just in time for our weekly team meeting. The fluorescent lights overhead cast an unflattering glare on everyone's face, making each person look weary and drawn. I took my usual seat, trying to appear composed despite the turmoil brewing inside me. My colleagues exchanged pleasantries while I sat there, lost in thought. Jessica entered the room with her signature confidence, oblivious to the storm clouds gathering around her. As she began discussing the intricacies of Shakespearean sonnets, I found myself struggling to focus on anything but the unease gnawing at my insides. With each word she spoke, I couldn't shake off the image of Lisa's knowing smile from earlier that morning. During a brief pause in the discussion, I decided to confront Jessica about Lisa's accusations. "Jessica," I called out abruptly, causing her to turn towards me with an air of surprise. "Yes, Robert." Her voice was steady, betraying none of my growing anxiety. I hesitated for a moment before plunging into the depths of uncertainty that had taken hold of my heart. "Lisa called me earlier today. She mentioned something about you using me for your own gain." Jessica's expression remained unreadable as she leaned back in her chair, crossing her legs with grace. "Oh, and what exactly did she say?" I recounted Lisa's words to her, watching closely for any signs of guilt or deception. Jessica listened intently, her eyes never leaving mine. "I don't know why she would say that, Robert," she replied finally, with an air of innocence I couldn't quite discern as genuine. "Perhaps it's just more of the same manipulation you've come to expect from your ex-wife." Her words stung, bringing me back to the countless times Lisa had accused me of being manipulative in our failed marriage. But there was something about Jessica's tone that made me question whether this was merely a deflection on her part. Before I could respond, the meeting came to an abrupt end as our boss summoned everyone for an emergency conference in the boardroom. As we filed out of the room, Jessica paused and whispered, "Robert, I want you to know that my intentions with you have always been genuine." Her words hung in the air like a fragile spiderweb, trembling against the weight of my uncertainty. For a moment, our eyes met, and I searched for an answer within their depths, but they were as enigmatic as her smile. The conference was a blur of numbers and deadlines. Each word spoken by our boss seemed to weave another layer into the tangled web surrounding me. As we filed out of the boardroom, my mind raced with unanswered questions, but one thing became clear: nothing would ever be certain again. After work, I went home, feeling isolated in the small space that was once our apartment during happier times. The worn-out chair stood as a stark reminder of what had been lost and the unknown lies ahead. As night fell, casting long shadows across the room, my phone buzzed to life. It was Lisa again, her words laced with an icy tone. "Happy birthday, Robert." My heart sank as I contemplated the shattered pieces of trust lying at my feet. The burnt coffee and worn-out chair seemed like distant memories, bittersweet echoes of a past I could no longer salvage. In that moment, I realized that confronting the truth about Jessica would only scratch the surface. For beneath it all lay the crumbled remains of an imperfect marriage, a cracked mirror reflecting shards of love and regret. And now, as I stood alone in the darkness, a fragile hope for something new. As dawn broke through my bedroom window, painting the room with warm hues of gold and amber, I lay awake, tangled in the sheets of my king-sized bed. The worn-out chair was a distant memory now, replaced by the cold reality that my marriage had crumbled into dust, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions and half-truths. Lisa's words echoed in my mind like a haunting melody. "Happy birthday, Robert," her voice dripping with sarcasm as she unveiled the truth about Jessica. I couldn't shake off the feeling that my world was crumbling around me, yet the truth remained just out of reach. I rolled onto my side, facing the empty space beside me where Lisa used to sleep. The mattress had slowly deflated over time, losing its shape and form much like our relationship. As I gazed at the faded indentation on the pillow, a pang of regret settled in the pit of my stomach. But today was not for reminiscing. It was my birthday, and I needed to face whatever challenges lay ahead with courage and determination. With a heavy sigh, I swung my legs over the side of the bed, planting my bare feet firmly on the cool hardwood floor. The sun continued its ascent in the sky as I shuffled into the kitchen to make myself a simple breakfast, scrambled eggs and toast. The familiar routine brought me some solace, grounding me in reality amidst the chaos swirling inside my mind. As I ate, my thoughts turned to the meeting I had with Jessica earlier that week. Her words of innocence lingered like an unfulfilled promise, leaving behind a bitter taste of uncertainty. But deep down, I couldn't help but wonder if Lisa's accusations were just another chapter in our complicated history together, one filled with manipulation and hurt. With breakfast finished, I gathered my belongings and prepared to head into the office. The worn-out chair was far from my mind now. Instead, a newfound determination had taken root within me. Today, I would confront Jessica once more, seeking answers that would finally lay my doubts to rest. The fluorescent lights in the office cast an unflattering glare on everyone's face as usual, but I found myself immune to their harshness today. My focus was singular, to uncover the truth about Jessica and her true intentions. As she walked into the room, the familiar sight of her confident stride made my heart skip a beat. For a moment, I forgot all about Lisa's accusations and the tangled web that bound us together. But then, I remembered why I was here: to find answers, to protect myself from any potential harm. "Jessica," I called out, my voice steady and authoritative. She turned towards me with an air of surprise, but her composure quickly returned as she took in my resolute stance. "Yes, Robert. I need you to answer some questions for me," I said, my mind racing with a myriad of possibilities. "I want to know the truth about you, your past, your motivations." Her eyes narrowed slightly as she considered my request. After a long pause, she finally spoke. "Why do you think you need to know anything more than what we already share?" The question threw me off balance for a moment, but I quickly regained my composure and continued, undeterred. "I need to know why Lisa called me yesterday, accusing you of using me for your own gain." Jessica's expression remained unreadable as she leaned back in her chair, crossing her legs with grace. "Oh, and what exactly did she say?" I recounted Lisa's words to her, watching closely for any signs of guilt or deception. Jessica listened intently, her eyes never leaving mine. "I don't know why she would say that, Robert," she replied finally, with an air of innocence I couldn't quite discern as genuine. "Perhaps it's just more of the same manipulation you've come to expect from your ex-wife." Her words stung, bringing back memories of Lisa's countless accusations throughout our marriage. But there was something about Jessica's tone that made me question whether this was merely a deflection on her part. Before I could respond, our boss summoned everyone for an emergency conference in the boardroom. As we filed out of the room, Jessica paused and whispered, "Robert, I want you to know that my intentions with you have always been genuine." Her words hung in the air like a fragile spiderweb, trembling against the weight of my uncertainty. For a moment, our eyes met, and I searched for an answer within their depths, but they were as enigmatic as her smile. The conference was a blur of numbers and deadlines. Each word spoken by our boss seemed to weave another layer into the tangled web surrounding me. As we filed out of the boardroom, my mind raced with unanswered questions, but one thing became clear: nothing would ever be certain again. Later that evening, as I sat alone in the worn-out chair, now a reminder of better days, the weight of uncertainty bore down on me like an unrelenting storm. I knew then that confronting Jessica was only half the battle. To truly understand the truth behind our complicated relationship and the tangled web of deceit that ensnared us both, I would have to confront my past head-on. In the midst of the chaos swirling around me, one thing became clear. No matter how imperfect, love had been given a chance to breathe new life into the fragments left behind. And as I sat in the worn-out chair on this strange and tumultuous birthday, I knew that it was only the beginning, an inheritance from the past that would shape my future. As the night drew to a close and the first light of dawn crept back into my room, the echoes of burnt coffee and creaking chairs faded away, replaced by a newfound sense of hope. For beneath the cracked mirror of our past lay a chance for something new, a fragile hope that would guide me through the turbulent waters ahead, one step at a time. The morning sun filtered through my window, casting a warm glow on the worn-out chair across from me, now a symbol of my newfound determination to confront the past and embrace the future. As I sipped my lukewarm coffee, the bitter taste brought back memories of the countless mornings spent staring at its cracked surface, contemplating the fragments of our once shared life. My thoughts turned to Jessica as she entered the office that day with her usual confidence. The weight of uncertainty hung heavy on my shoulders, but I was determined to find answers, no matter how imperfect the truth might be. During a brief pause in the discussion, I decided to approach her again, this time armed with more questions and an open heart. "Jessica," I called out, my voice stronger than before. She turned towards me with an air of surprise, but quickly regained her composure as she met my gaze. "Yes, Robert. I need your honesty now more than ever," I said, my mind racing with the possibilities that lay ahead. "I want to know everything about you, your past, your motivations, your secrets." Her eyes narrowed slightly at my words, and for a moment I wondered if I had overstepped my boundaries. But then, slowly, she began to open up. "I never meant to hurt you," Jessica said softly, her voice laced with sincerity for the first time. "When we started this affair, I thought I was doing it out of loneliness and desperation. But as time went on, I realized that there was more to my involvement than just a simple fling." I listened intently, my heart pounding in anticipation of what she would say next. "I come from a family with dark secrets," Jessica continued, her voice barely above a whisper. "Secrets that I never wanted to share with anyone, not even myself. But somehow, when we started this affair, it felt like you understood me, like we were sharing something more than just lust." As she spoke, the pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place in my mind. Lisa's accusations, Jessica's secretive nature, and now these dark secrets that threatened to consume her. "I can't deny my attraction towards you," I admitted, swallowing past the lump in my throat. "But I need to know if there's more to our relationship than just physical desire." Jessica looked at me with tears brimming in her eyes, and for a moment, I saw a glimmer of vulnerability that I had never seen before. "There is," she whispered. "From the first day we met, I felt this connection with you, like we were meant to be more than just lovers. But as time passed by, I realized that I wasn't strong enough to take the leap and face my past head-on." Her words struck a chord within me, resonating with the countless times I had faltered during my marriage to Lisa. "I understand," I said, reaching out across the table to hold her hand. "But we can only move forward if we confront our past together." For a moment, Jessica hesitated, and then she intertwined her fingers with mine. It was a small gesture, but one that spoke volumes of what could be possible between us. The days that followed were filled with emotional turmoil as both Jessica and I worked through the dark secrets of our pasts. But in each other's arms, we found solace, comfort, and a newfound strength to face the uncertain future ahead. As dawn broke on another day, casting its golden light upon my worn-out chair, I gazed at it with renewed perspective, no longer just a symbol of lost love, but an emblem of growth and understanding. For beneath the cracked mirror of our past lay a chance for something new, something real, a fragile hope that had turned into a guiding force in my life. And so, as Jessica and I embarked on this journey together, hand in hand, we knew that nothing could break us apart now, not even the weight of imperfection. For we were Robert and Jessica, two souls intertwined amidst chaos, ready to face whatever came our way, side by side in this tangled web of love. End of chapter 4. As Jessica and I navigated through the labyrinth of our pasts, each step forward was fraught with challenges that threatened to tear us apart at any moment. But in those moments of vulnerability, we found solace in one another's arms, a fragile hope kindled within our hearts that even the darkest secrets could not extinguish. Our shared determination to confront the truth about ourselves led us down an uncertain path, weaving through a complex web of emotions and memories that were both bitter and sweet. In those moments, it felt like we were dancing on the edge of a precipice, where one wrong step could send us tumbling back into the depths of despair. But with each shared revelation, our bond grew stronger, a resilient thread connecting two souls who had once been lost in their own struggles. Together, we forged ahead, determined to face whatever lay ahead as long as it was together. As our journey progressed, we encountered unexpected obstacles that tested our resolve and forced us to confront the imperfections within ourselves. There were moments when anger flared up, like a wildfire raging out of control, threatening to engulf everything in its path. And there were times when regret weighed heavily on our shoulders, dragging us down into the murky depths of what-ifs. But amidst this turmoil, we discovered fleeting tenderness that gave us hope and courage to keep going forward. One such moment occurred during a heated argument at a local, where we sat across from each other, hands shaking and eyes filled with tears. The air was thick with tension as we struggled to find common ground amidst the chaos surrounding us. "I can't do this anymore," Jessica whispered, her voice breaking as she fought back sobs. I reached out, my hand trembling as I gently stroked her hair, trying to offer comfort in a moment that felt devoid of any solace. "We don't have to face this alone, Jessica. Together, we're stronger." Her body shook with silent tears as she leaned into my touch, finding strength in the simple gesture. And then there were moments when our love was tested by the external world's expectations and judgments. We faced awkward social situations where people couldn't help but notice our complicated history, whispering behind our backs about the likelihood of our relationship surviving the tumultuous waters of our pasts. But amidst all this, we found solace in small, human moments that revealed deeper pain or hope. The smell of burnt coffee during a fight, the creak of a worn-out chair as we sat together, contemplating the fragments of our once shared life, the taste of bitter tears exchanged during moments of vulnerability. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, our journey became less about escaping the past and more about embracing it. We understood that our imperfections were not weaknesses, but reminders of the strength we had found in each other amidst chaos. Together, we faced the legal paperwork, financial strain, and awkward social shifts that came with rebuilding a life after heartbreak. And though there were moments when doubt crept into our hearts, the love that bound us together was stronger, more resilient than anything that dared to threaten it. For Robert and Jessica knew that in this tangled web of love and pain, only one thing could guide them through the uncertain future: their unwavering commitment to stand by each other's side, imperfect as they were, for however long it may take. End of chapter 5. The sun rose higher in the sky, casting its warm rays upon our worn-out chair as we sat side by side, hands intertwined on the table before us. It was a symbol of our journey together, imperfect, battered by the storms of life, yet still standing strong amidst it all. As we navigated through the labyrinth of our pasts, each step forward brought with it challenges that tested the very foundations of our relationship. Yet in those moments of vulnerability, we found solace and strength in one another's arms, a fragile hope kindled within our hearts that even the darkest secrets could not extinguish. In this journey together, we discovered that love was not about avoiding imperfections, but embracing them as a part of who we were, imperfect beings learning to navigate through life's uncertainties. As we confronted the truth about ourselves and each other, our bond grew stronger with every shared revelation, forging us into two souls who had once been lost in their own struggles. Together, we faced the external world's expectations and judgments head-on, knowing that our love was worth fighting for despite the doubts and criticisms from others. We learned to cherish small, human moments that revealed deeper pain or hope: the smell of burnt coffee during a fight, the creak of our worn-out chair as we sat together, contemplating the fragments of our once shared life, and even the taste of bitter tears exchanged during moments of vulnerability. As months turned into years, we understood that our imperfections were not weaknesses but reminders of the strength we had found in each other amidst chaos. Together, we faced legal paperwork, financial strain, and awkward social shifts that came with rebuilding a life after heartbreak, a testament to our unwavering commitment to stand by each other's side. The day finally arrived when we stood before a judge in the courtroom, holding hands as we looked into the future. The room was silent except for the soft sobs of Lisa, who had come to witness our union. Her tears were no longer those of anger and manipulation, but of acceptance, a recognition that love had prevailed despite the odds. As we exchanged vows, promising to stand by each other's side through thick and thin, a new chapter began in our lives together. The worn-out chair became a relic of the past, replaced by countless memories of laughter, tears, triumphs, and failures shared between two imperfect souls who found solace and strength in one another. For Robert and Jessica knew that in this tangled web of love and pain, it was not their imperfections, but the unwavering commitment they held for each other that would guide them through the uncertain future, a testament to their resilience and love that had weathered the storms of life together. Together, we looked forward with hope, embracing the unknown possibilities that lay ahead as long as we were standing side by side. For in this imperfect world, our love was a beacon of hope, shining brightly for all to see, a reminder that even in the darkest moments, there is always a chance for redemption and happiness. And so, in this worn-out chair of life's greatest journey, Robert and Jessica found not only solace, but also a newfound strength in each other's arms. In the end, it was their unwavering commitment to stand by one another's side that ultimately resolved the tangled web of love they had woven together, imperfect as they were. End of chapter 6.